Summary: The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant's Mathilde Loisel is pretty and charming but feels she has been born into a family of unfavorable economic status. She was married off to a lowly clerk in the Ministry of Education, who can afford to provide her only with a modest though not uncomfortable lifestyle. Mathilde feels the burden of her poverty intensely. She regrets her lot in life and spends endless hours imagining a more extravagant existence, while her husband expresses his pleasure at the small, modest supper she has prepared for him. She dreams of an elaborate feast served on fancy china and eaten in the company of wealthy friends. She possesses no fancy jewels or clothing, yet these are the only things she lives for. Without them, she feels she is not desirable. She has one wealthy friend, Madame Forestier, but refuses to visit her because of the heartbreak it brings her. One night, her husband returns home proudly bearing an invitation to a formal party hosted by the Ministry of Education. He hopes that Mathilde will be thrilled with the chance to attend an event of this sort, but she is instantly angry and begins to cry. Through her tears, she tells him that she has nothing to wear and he ought to give the invitation to one of his friends whose wife can afford better clothing. Her husband is upset by her reaction and asks how much a suitable dress would cost. She thinks about it carefully and tells him that 400 francs would be enough. Her husband quietly balks at the sum but agrees that she may have the money. As the day of the party approaches, Mathilde starts to behave oddly. She confesses that the reason for her behavior is her lack of jewels. Monsieur Loisel suggests that she wear flowers, but she refuses. He implores her to visit Madame Forestier and borrow something from her. Madame Forestier agrees to lend Mathilde her jewels, and Mathilde selects a diamond necklace. She is overcome with gratitude at Madame Forestier's generosity. At the party, Mathilde is the most beautiful woman in attendance, and everyone notices her. She is intoxicated by the attention and has an overwhelming sense of self-satisfaction. At 4 a.m., she finally looks for Monsieur Loisel, who has been dozing for hours in a deserted room. He cloaks her bare shoulders in a wrap and cautions her to wait inside, away from the cold night air, while he fetches a cab. But she is ashamed at the shabbiness of her wrap and follows Monsieur Loisel outside. They walk for a while before hailing a cab. When they finally return home, Mathilde is saddened that the night has ended. As she removes her wrap, she discovers that her necklace is no longer around her neck. In a panic, Monsieur Loisel goes outside and retraces their steps. Terrified, she sits and waits for him. He returns home much later in an even greater panic. He has not found the necklace. He instructs her to write to Madame Forestier and say that she has broken the clasp of the necklace and is getting it mended. They continue to look for the necklace. After a week, Monsieur Loisel says they have to see about replacing it. They visit many jewelers, searching for a similar necklace, and finally find one. It costs 40,000 francs, although the jeweler says he will give it to them for 36,000. The Loisels spend a week scraping up money from all kinds of sources, mortgaging the rest of their existence. After 3 days, Monsieur Loisel purchases the necklace. When Mathilde returns the necklace, in its case, to Madame Forestier, Madame Forestier is annoyed at how long it has taken to get it back but does not open the case to inspect it. Mathilde is relieved. The Loisels began to live a life of crippling poverty. They dismiss their servant and move into an even smaller apartment. Monsieur Loisel works 3 jobs, and Mathilde spends all her time doing the heavy housework. This misery lasts 10 years, but at the end they have repaid their financial debts. Mathilde's extraordinary beauty is now gone. She looks just like the other women of poor households. They are both tired and irrevocably damaged from these years of hardship. One Sunday, while she is out for a walk, Mathilde spots Madame Forestier. Feeling emotional, she approaches her and offers greetings. Madame Forestier does not recognize her, and when Mathilde identifies herself, Madame Forestier cannot help but exclaim that she looks different. Mathilde says that the change was on her account and explains to her the long saga of losing the necklace, replacing it, and working for 10 years to repay the debts. At the end of her story, Madame Forestier clasps her hands and tells Mathilde the original necklace was just costume jewelry and not worth anything. Theme: The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. 1. Deception and desire. Explore how Mathilde's desire for a life beyond her means leads to deception and ultimately, hardship. 2. Appearances versus reality. Analyze the contrast between the appearance of wealth Matilda craves and the harsh reality of her life. 3. The power of illusion. Discuss how Matilda is fooled by the borrowed necklace and the illusion of a better life it represents. 4. Social class and discontent. Examine how social class limitations fuel Matilda's dissatisfaction and her choices. 5. Folly of materialism. Explore the negative consequences of prioritizing material possessions over happiness and contentment. 6. Irony and fate. Analyze the ironic twists of fate that lead Matilda down a path of misfortune due to her initial deception. 7. The cost of lies. Discuss how the lie about the necklace spirals into a series of consequences that take a heavy toll on Matilda's life. 8. Sacrifice and selflessness. Consider the sacrifices made by Matilda and her husband to repay the debt, highlighting their contrasting characters. 9. Guilt and redemption. Explore the themes of guilt that plague Matilda and the possibility of redemption through her hard work. 10. The human condition. Analyze how the necklace reflects universal human experiences of desire, deception, and the challenges of social mobility. The Happy Prince Summary by Oscar Wilde. This article depicts the Happy Prince summary. The story tells about Prince. This story by Oscar Wilde was published for the first time in May 1888. The Happy Prince summary throws light on the society full of injustice and inequality. Moreover, people give importance to superficial beauty and a life full of luxury and escapism. Furthermore, they lack compassion for each other. It also reflects the ridiculous behavior of mayor and councillors. People have no worth for the sacrifice made by others. The Happy Prince Summary. This article is about the Happy Prince Summary by Oscar Wilde. It explains the Happy Prince Summary in short. It gives information about Prince who was happy in his life as he will never allow the sorrows to enter his palace. He lived happily and died happily too. However, after his death, he stood in the form of a statue on a pedestal. He could see the whole town standing there. He became a source of admiration for every passerby. These included the town councillors too. The statue was covered in gold leaf with sapphires for eyes. Moreover, there was a ruby on his sword hilt. They wanted to foster artistic tastes. This revealed their greed for superficial beauty and reputation. Then, a swallow flies over the city on his way to Egypt. He had been delayed after falling in love with a reed and was attracted to her slender waist and gracefulness. However, when Reed wouldn't accompany his travels, the swallow left alone, but ended up stopping under the statue of the Happy Prince to rest. This depicted Swallow's attraction to artificial beauty. Also, he was selfish to fulfill his aspirations on the cost of his relationship. In his journey, Swallow stopped under the statue of Happy Prince to rest. To his surprise, the swallow realized that the Happy Prince has been crying. Both were introduced to each other. It was full of superficial pleasures as he was unaware of the pain in his city. The swallow is surprised to learn that the statue is not made of solid gold. However, he agrees to help the Happy Prince when he describes his empathy for a seamstress sewing passion flowers on the satin gown of a lady-in-waiting. She lived in a poor house and cannot care for her sick son. Thus, the swallow agrees to deliver the ruby from the prince's sword hilt to that lady. This depicts that the swallow in a Happy Prince summary was compassionate. He wanted to help the needy and realize true happiness in it. Heading forward to deliver the ruby, the swallow sees old Jews bargaining with each other. After delivering the ruby, the swallow returns and describes feeling quite warm in spite of the cold, because of his good deed. However, he was still willing to go to Egypt. He describes to the Happy Prince what marvels await him there. However, the prince pleads him to stay and help a young playwright freezing in his garret. The man wants to finish a play for the theater director but has become too cold. In the end, the swallow agrees to stay another night and plucks out one of the prince's sapphire eyes for delivering it to the young man. Swallow felt good to help the needy. Also, this incident in a Happy Prince summary indicated Prince's selfless concern and humanity for the people suffering from inequality and corruption. The swallow returns once more to say goodbye to the Happy Prince. However, the prince begs him to deliver his other sapphire eye to a little match girl who has dropped her matches. The swallow agrees to his proposal. Also, he promises to remain by the prince's side forever, as he cannot leave him alone and blind. Both prince and swallow showed great acts of sacrifice. The swallow told the prince the tales of fantasy to comfort him as he was blind then. However, the prince feels that the knowledge of reality, injustice and inequality, was more valuable. The swallow flies over the city and reports of the rich making merry while beggars starving at their gates. It included young boys trying to warm themselves under a bridge while a passing watchman tries to clear them out. On hearing these tales, the prince desires to distribute the fine gold leaf gilding him, to lessen some of the unhappiness. The swallow agrees and delivers sheets of gold leaf to the children. The prince grew dull and gray while the children's faces grew rosier. Swallow died of cold. He was considered shabby and thrown in the dust heap along with Prince's heart, which broke after Swallow's death. People have not realized their worth. God deemed them to be the most beautiful of his creations. Themes in The Happy Prince with brief explanations. 1. Compassion versus ignorance. The prince's initial ignorance of his people's suffering contrasts with his profound empathy after death. 2. True beauty lies within. The story challenges superficial beauty, suggesting true beauty lies in acts of compassion. 3. Sacrifice and selflessness. Both the prince and the swallow demonstrate the power of selflessness through their sacrifices. 4. The price of materialism. The prince's wealth becomes irrelevant, highlighting the limitations of material possessions. 5. Empathy and social justice. The story criticizes a society indifferent to the suffering of others, urging for empathy. 6. Power of choice. The prince and swallow actively choose to help, emphasizing the importance of individual action. 7. Redemption through suffering. Through sacrificing his riches, the prince seeks redemption for his previous life. 8. Loyalty and friendship. The unwavering bond between the prince and the swallow exemplifies true friendship. 9. Blindness versus seeing clearly. The prince's literal blindness is juxtaposed with his newfound clarity about human suffering. 10. Mortality and the meaning of life. The story explores the impermanence of life and the importance of leaving a positive impact. Rhetoric is the art of persuasive communication, employing various strategies and techniques to influence an audience's beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors. It involves crafting messages effectively to achieve a specific purpose, whether it's to inform, persuade, or entertain. 2. Rhetorical strategies for persuasion. Ethos, logos, pathos. Ethos. Ethos appeals to the credibility, authority, or character of the speaker or source. It aims to establish trust and credibility with the audience by demonstrating the speaker's expertise, integrity, and goodwill. Logos. Logos appeals to reason and logic. It involves presenting factual evidence, logical reasoning, and rational arguments to support a claim or persuade the audience. Logos appeals to the intellect and aims to convince through reasoned discourse. Pathos. Pathos appeals to the emotions of the audience. It involves using language, imagery, and storytelling to evoke feelings such as sympathy, empathy, fear, or excitement. Pathos aims to connect with the audience on an emotional level and inspire them to action or belief. 3. The rhetorical strategy of identification. The rhetorical strategy of identification involves establishing a common ground or shared identity with the audience. It seeks to align the speaker's values, beliefs, or experiences with those of the audience to create a sense of unity and solidarity. By highlighting similarities and shared experiences, the speaker can foster a sense of trust and connection with the audience, making them more receptive to the speaker's message. 4. Why do I need to think rhetorically? Thinking rhetorically allows individuals to communicate more effectively and persuasively in various contexts, including public speaking, writing, and everyday conversations. By understanding rhetorical strategies such as ethos, logos, and pathos, individuals can tailor their messages to their audience's values, beliefs, and emotions, increasing the likelihood of achieving their communication goals. Thinking rhetorically also enhances critical thinking skills, enabling individuals to analyze and evaluate arguments more effectively. 5. The rhetorical triangle. The rhetorical triangle is a model that illustrates the three key elements of communication: the speaker, ethos, the message, logos, and the audience, pathos. It emphasizes the interrelationship between these elements and their importance in effective communication. The speaker's credibility, ethos, the logical reasoning and evidence in the message, logos, and the emotional appeal to the audience, pathos, All play crucial roles in persuasive communication. 6. Questions to help you recognize and utilize ethos, logos, and pathos. Is the speaker or source credible and trustworthy? What expertise, authority, or moral character does the speaker possess? Is the argument supported by factual evidence, logical reasoning, and rational arguments? Are statistics, examples, or logical appeals used to support the claim? What emotions are being appealed to in the message? Does the language, imagery, or storytelling evoke feelings of sympathy, empathy, fear, or excitement? 7. Final thoughts about rhetoric. Rhetoric is a powerful tool for effective communication and persuasion. By understanding and employing rhetorical strategies such as ethos, logos, and pathos, individuals can craft messages that resonate with their audience and achieve their communication goals. Thinking rhetorically allows individuals to communicate more persuasively, foster connections with their audience, and make a meaningful impact in various personal, professional, and public contexts. 8. The elements of a rhetoric. The elements of a rhetorical situation act like ingredients in a recipe, each playing a crucial role in shaping how a message is crafted and understood. 1. Text. This is the communication itself, and it can take many forms. It could be a formal essay, a casual conversation, a social media post, a painting in an art gallery, or even a product label in a store. The format of the text is chosen strategically based on the author's purpose and the intended audience. 2. Author, reader, the creator of the text, whether it's an individual or a group, brings their own unique perspective and experiences to the table. Their background, knowledge, biases, and goals all influence the content and style of the message. For instance, a scientist writing a research paper will likely use a different tone and vocabulary than a teenager writing a text message to a friend. 3. Audience, the intended receivers of the message. Understanding the audience is crucial for effective communication. Consider their age, background, knowledge level, cultural context, and even their potential biases. An author will tailor their message to resonate with the audience and achieve their desired outcome. 4. Purposes. These are the specific goals the author wants to achieve with the text. There's a wide range of purposes, some of the most common being, to inform, providing the audience with new knowledge or explaining a concept. To persuade, convincing the audience to adopt a certain viewpoint or take a specific action. To entertain, engaging the audience and providing enjoyment. To motivate, inspiring the audience to take action or achieve a goal. 5. Setting, context. The circumstances surrounding the communication provide crucial context. This includes the historical period, the current social and cultural environment, and even the physical location where the communication takes place. For example, a political speech delivered during a time of economic crisis will likely have a different tone and content than one delivered during peacetime. 1. What is an argument? An argument is a reasoned and logical presentation of ideas or claims supported by evidence and reasoning. It aims to persuade others to accept a particular perspective, position, or conclusion. Arguments typically involve presenting a main claim, thesis, and supporting it with evidence, analysis, and logical reasoning. 2. Importance of an argument. Arguments are essential in academic and professional discourse as they facilitate critical thinking, analysis, and persuasion. They allow individuals to articulate their ideas effectively, engage in intellectual debates, and convince others of their viewpoints. Constructing strong arguments fosters clarity of thought, encourages rigorous analysis of evidence, and promotes effective communication skills. 3. Your role in the academic argument. In academic contexts, your role in constructing an argument involves conducting research, critically evaluating evidence, and presenting your findings in a coherent and persuasive manner. As an academic, you're expected to engage with existing scholarship, formulate original insights, and contribute to the ongoing conversation within your field. 4. How to create an academic argument. To create an academic argument, follow these steps. Identify your topic. Choose a topic that interests you and is relevant to your field of study. Conduct research. Gather relevant sources and evidence to support your argument. Formulate a thesis statement. Craft a clear and concise statement that presents your main argument or claim. Outline your argument, Organize your ideas into a logical structure with an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Support your argument, provide evidence, examples, and analysis to support your thesis statement. Address counterarguments. Anticipate and address potential objections or counterarguments to strengthen your argument. Conclude your argument. Summarize your main points and restate your thesis in the conclusion. 5. The introduction and thesis statement. Introduction. The introduction provides context for your argument and engages the reader's interest. It should include background information, relevant context, and a clear statement of the problem or issue you're addressing. Thesis statement. The thesis statement is a concise summary of your main argument or claim. It should be specific, debatable, and supported by evidence. The thesis statement typically appears at the end of the introduction and guides the direction of your argument. 6. Body paragraphs and your argument. Body paragraphs. The body paragraphs develop and support your thesis statement by presenting evidence, analysis, and reasoning. Each paragraph should focus on a single main point and include topic sentences, supporting evidence, and analysis that reinforces your argument. 7. How to develop your argument. Provide evidence. Support your argument with relevant evidence from credible sources, such as scholarly articles, books, or empirical research. Analyze and interpret evidence. Analyze the significance of the evidence and explain how it supports your argument. Consider how the evidence relates to your thesis statement and the broader context of your argument. Address counterarguments. Acknowledge and address potential counterarguments or objections to your thesis statement. Anticipating and refuting counterarguments strengthens your argument and demonstrates critical thinking. The process used for academic writing. Big picture. Academic writing is a structured process that involves several stages, from initial research and gathering of data to sharing or publishing the final written work. It requires critical thinking, analysis, and effective communication to produce scholarly output. Types of writings. 1. Descriptive writing. Descriptive writing paints a vivid picture using sensory details to convey an experience, scene, or emotion. 2. Narrative writing. Narrative writing tells a story, often from a first-person perspective, with a clear beginning, middle, and end. 3. Expository writing. Expository writing explains, informs, or describes a topic in a clear and concise manner, presenting facts, analysis, and evidence. 4. Persuasive writing. Persuasive writing aims to convince the reader to adopt a particular viewpoint or take a specific action through logical reasoning and emotional appeals. 5. Argumentative writing. Argumentative writing presents a claim or thesis and supports it with evidence and reasoning, aiming to persuade the reader of its validity. The super secret writing process for academic writing. Step 1. Research and gather data. Begin by conducting thorough research on your topic, gathering relevant data, and evaluating credible sources. Take notes, highlight key points, and gather evidence to support your arguments. Step 2. Pre-writing techniques. Brainstorm and list. Generate ideas by freely brainstorming and listing relevant concepts, questions, or arguments related to your topic. Brainstorm and group. Organize your ideas by grouping related concepts or arguments together. This helps you identify common themes and patterns. Semantic webs. Create visual diagrams or semantic webs to map out relationships between different ideas and concepts. Talking. Discuss your ideas with peers, mentors, or colleagues to gain new perspectives and refine your thinking. Power writing. Set a timer and write continuously without stopping to overcome writer's block and generate ideas. Step 3. First draft. Sloppy copy. Write a rough draft of your paper without worrying too much about grammar, style, or structure. Focus on getting your ideas down on paper and fleshing out your arguments. Step 4. Revision. Revise your draft by reviewing and refining your arguments, organization, and clarity. Ensure that your ideas flow logically and that each paragraph supports your thesis statement. Consider adding or deleting content as needed to strengthen your argument. Step 5. Editing. Edit your revised draft for grammar, punctuation, spelling, and style errors. Pay attention to sentence structure, word choice, and overall coherence. Proofread carefully to catch any mistakes or inconsistencies. Step 6. Sharing or publishing. Share your final draft with peers, mentors, or instructors for feedback and suggestions. Consider submitting your work for publication in academic journals or presenting it at conferences to contribute to scholarly discourse within your field. How to avoid writer's block. Break it down. Divide your writing task into smaller, manageable steps and focus on completing one step at a time. Set goals. Set specific goals and deadlines for each stage of the writing process to stay motivated and on track. Take breaks. Take regular breaks to rest and recharge your mind. Physical activity, meditation, or creative activities can help stimulate creativity and overcome writer's block. Change your environment. Switching locations or working in a different environment can help break through mental barriers and spark new ideas. Seek support. Reach out to peers, mentors, or writing groups for support, encouragement, and feedback. Collaborating with others can help generate new ideas and perspectives.